little munchkins. We're shed. One of the fantastic things about being a shed man and watching fellow shed men and, tool collectors, tool restorers, just all round shed men is a fantastic hobby to have if you haven't got a shed and you haven't started tinkering. And then on top of that, there is YouTube, and maybe I'm a bit extreme. I film anything that moves, basically, don't I? Yeah, but if you've been following fairly regular, you'll know about the level that we think is at least James at Time Flies in the Shop says it's at least 135 years old. Because Debbie read the book. I might make one whole film of everything, collect it all together. Anyway, so we've been stuck with that hole, and we've had lots of suggestions. And I do recommend Scoutcrafter, but this is where the magic of being in the shed, you're not alone. When you've got YouTube, when you've got your phone to film a problem, and you've got YouTube to put it on, you're never alone in your shed. We're all in the shed together. So Scoutcrafter, you've heard me talk about Scoutcrafter quite a lot. It's one simple name. Put Scoutcrafter in your YouTube, and he does fantastic things. Well, he was watching, and he it's sometimes very difficult to actually explain a thing in words. And one of the fantastic things about it is when you're running a bit of a YouTube channel, you can actually do it and show it. So here is John, and we'll be doing that. I'll be making a follow-up video. We'll be doing this to the level. But maybe I shouldn't have put the creosote in it. Anyway, we'll get to that when we get to it. Anyway, let me now put you on to the film that Scoutcrafter made for me and all of us. It's about sharing. It's about coming across problems. It's about sharing solutions. It's a absolutely fantastic thing being shed men and tinkering on the old YouTube. Anyway, without further ado, let me play this film for you.
Piece of equipment that he's working on.
Oh, run this back, hold on.
Am I better off putting in some wedges, or should I drill it up?
Alright, here we are. This is from the beginning.
Hey everybody, Scoutcrafter here again. Midweek Wednesday.
Yeah.
Hope you're having a good week so far.
7:30 Monday, 7:30 Wednesday, and 7:30 Friday.
But because I have a couple things to do this week. On last Friday, I was watching my good buddy Reggie on the road. Reggie brought up a problem that he was having, a situation that we've all come across, about a wallowed out screw hole in a piece of equipment that he's working on. And he was saying, am I better off putting in some wedges, or should I drill it out and put it down? He was just kicking around the idea, which is a great thing, and what this channel and our channels are all about. Get input from other people, people have done this before, and their experiences, and it helps us all out, right? So I thought it would be a great way to start today's episode, because I've had this issue a couple times, and I found a good way to deal with it. So let's get right to it. Okay, first let me apologize for your water in the background that's coming through the electrical box. Thank you, Con Ed. So don't worry about it. It's okay. It'll be stopped soon because it stopped raining. Let's talk about this issue here. It happens to all of us at one time or another. A hole will be wallowed out in a piece of wood where the screw won't grip anything. And, we come to the dilemma of what do you do to fill that hole? I tried to make these holes look similar to Reggie's holes, where they're a little bit wallowed out, and he still had some threads in there. But now there's a couple things. Some people get a longer screw. They drill a little hole and try and get to deep wood that's still good down there. But there's a couple issues. Whenever you have a hole that's like this, that your screw pulled out of and you want to fix it, sometimes it doesn't matter where the screw is, okay? Sometimes you could just fill this in and, you know, put a screw over here or next to it or whatever, and it doesn't matter. You'll get fresh wood. But most times that we deal with this, the screw has to go back in the exact same position.
Yeah.
Like with Reggie. Reggie said, I don't know if that was a level or whatever.
Yeah, it's a level.
But it's holding something in, and it, you know, there might be a flange with a hole in it that goes over, and it has to match up perfectly. This is where the issue comes in. If you were to drill a hole out of here and put a dowel in here, okay, when you drill that hole is not going to be exact where it was. The dowel will just inevitably go 1 or 2 thousandths or 3 thousandths to the left, to the right, and then what you'll do is you'll try and drill a hole in the middle of the dowel, and when you finally put that flange back over, you're going to see the hole doesn't line up. Now it's going to twist the flange, it's going to look like junk. So this is what I have found the best way to do it. So here we have a couple ways. Now, if this was like a doorknob or something, and just one of the screws fell out of the plate around the doorknob, you can easily do the old-fashioned fix of taking a toothpick, and toothpicks come in so handy in the shop. But you could take a toothpick, break off a piece here so that it's like this, and then when you put this in, it'll tighten up against the toothpick. But even then, it'll cock the screw to one side because you have the toothpick over here. And when you have like a flathead screw that isn't going in straight and it's cocked to one side, it looks like junk, right? It looks like crap. So how do we fix this? How do we get this correct to do it upright? Now, first thing you have to look at is determine how much damage is around the hole. Now, if you have a lot of damage around the hole, and this is something that's going to be seen, you're going to want a larger dowel. If it's just something that's going to be under that flange, you could get a dowel that's just bigger than the hole. So that's the first determination you make. So let's get some doweling and see what we have. Okay, so here is where I keep some of my doweling up on the other.
John, you've kept
side
wood.
of the
I've
shop.
never been a wood
It's a bit of a
collector,
mess,
but I
you know,
must
mixed up
become
metal and
a wood
40 years
collector.
worth of keeping dowels.
Yeah.
But it's good to have a stock of different dowels that you could use.
Yeah.
Here are some dowels that I actually
When
found.
Victor was next door, I always
One of
used
my walks,
to.
a whole
I
bunch
kept
of
the
those.
steel,
They
he
always-
kept the
you never
wood.
know when you're going to use them for making kites or something. So let's pick out an appropriate size dowel. Here's the dowel I have chosen for this job. It's about 3/8 of an inch thick. It's painted. I prefer a bare bone dowel for the glue, but you know, again, you want to use your worst equipment for, you know, this is something, it's practice or whatever. And also, if you have a dowel that's warped, this is another good use for that dowel. That's why if you have short pieces, you don't throw them away, you put them in a can. So now what we're going to do is, the first thing we're going to do is take we need to know the thickness of this to get the exact hole. The hole that you drill in here, you want it to be a press fit. And dowels have all different sizes. You can't, you know, they're not going to match up with the drill bit, so you have to have a test block and test it out. But before we get to that, the first thing we're going to do now is we're going to put a line directly over the center of these holes with a sharp pencil and a rule. Now, this is one of the few times a sharp pencil comes in real handy in the shop. Otherwise, usually that point is too fragile for shop work and will break. But in this case, we want that line, and we took a regular rule and we put lines over the direct center of the holes. It doesn't matter what orientation these lines are in, as long as they go out about a 1/2 inch away from the center of the hole. See, over here I have an X, over here I have a cross, over here I have another type of X, you see, but the one thing is they all center in the middle, okay? So that's important, remember that. Now we're going to get the right drill bit for this. Now, traditionally, the bits we use most of the time are general purpose bits like this, and they have
Must get some
usually a
force in the
118-degree point on there, and when you drill it. But for wood, however, a lot of times, especially pine, I grew up my whole life using pine. It's one of the hardest woods to work with. It's great, strong, light. The problem is you get a lot of tear out. If I tried to drill this hole with this bit, I would probably do the same thing, get more tear out, especially with this kind of, this is not even a good grade pine. It's an old 2x4 or a piece of one. Now, so this is a typical bit we normally use. This is a brad point bit, and a brad point bit has the benefits of having 2 points on the side that'll cut that, stop the tear out from happening. So this is preferred. And even better is a Forstner bit. A Forstner bit here cuts a beautiful hole, and it also leaves a flat bottom hole. These are real nice, but not everybody has them. So you do it what you can. But if you only have this kind of bit, work up slowly to get to here. Don't try and do it with this one first, because you will get more tear out. Now, on a scrap piece of wood, and this is why we keep all these scrap pieces of wood around the shop for jobs just like this. Now, I drilled out a couple holes here with bits that are about that size. Now, this bit here, I did the bottom hole. And I'm going to check the dowel that we're going to use. And you can see here, it's a little bit loose. See how that moves? I'm sorry, was that a frame? It's a little bit loose there. You see that? Now, I use this bit and a bit in this second hole. And you can see here, that is a much better fit. I'm pushing it in. Look, no slop at all. This is the one we want to use. This one here was obviously way too big, but we want one that's going to be a nice snug fit just like that. Once you have the proper drill bit, then you're going to drill out all your holes. Now, it's important to remember, it doesn't matter if the drill moves a 1/16 of an inch either way, up or down. It don't matter. It doesn't have to be directly in the middle. In fact, with this one here, I'm going to move the drill over a little bit and purposely drill off center to show you why it wouldn't matter with this system. Okay, we drilled our 3 holes. Notice this one is off center. I drilled it specifically a little bit to the left. But now what we're going to do is we're going to take our dowel, and we're going to take small pieces of dowel, and we're going to glue them and pound them in there so they're pretty tight. We're going to glue these small pieces of dowels into the holes. But before we do, if you ever come across a pair of long nose, these aren't the short ones, these are the slightly long ones, channel lock, long nose, needle nose pliers. This tool is the most perfect thing for when you have these tight on. Now, always glue will stop you from opening this, and you're always trying to wrestle this open. You take these long nose pliers, there's a little lip there. You place them just between the lip and the base, and you give a little push up, and it pops it right open, no matter how tight the glue is there. This is the tool for that job. Let's glue these dowels. Okay, it's been about 20 minutes. These should be dry enough to work with. Now what we're going to do is we're going to take I like to use a Japanese pull saw. Now, what's nice about these pull saws is that they have a very fine tooth. Now, you can use a hacksaw, you can use anything with a fine tooth, but these are really good to get and saw these dowels off. Now, you do not want to remove these lines, okay? So don't try and get super close, because those lines are important, okay? So let's saw off the top of these dowels. Okay, now we sawed off the dowels, and you see the lines? Now we're going to connect all those lines. Okay, we connected all the lines. What's the first thing you notice? The first thing you notice is that not one of these intersections is in the middle of the dowel, which is normally where you would drill out a hole. Once you plugged a hole, you go to the direct center of the dowel. But see, that's where we all make the mistake. So you see, and remember this one, we moved the dowel over. Look, the hole is over here. So now we're going to center punch all these, and we're going to put in a pilot hole. There's our center punch. Now we drilled our pilot holes. Now we can take it over and sand or plane the top. And there we go. Those holes are directly where the center of the old screws were. Even though the dowels might look off a little bit, that's how you have to do it. That's the only way you can get registration of your old screw into an existing hole. Because like I said, if you tried to plug it with a dowel, you're going to drill. It's just only natural. You're going to drill in the center of the dowel, and you see how all of the holes would have been off, right? That's the best way I have found to do it. What are your thoughts on that? Now, some of you are wondering, why don't you just fill the holes with some kind of Bondo or epoxy or something and be done with it? You absolutely could do that. This is just a traditional fix that's been around for years, and doweling has proven to be extremely strong when done this way. But either way, you just have to locate the holes using the lines, whether you use epoxy or fill or whatever. It's just another trick in your book. Okay.
Wow. Wasn't that fantastic? Absolutely fantastic. And it explains exactly many and varied subject that Scoutcrafter looks through and all sorts of things. So, yeah, go and check out. Go and find Scoutcrafter. Go find Scoutcrafter. And where are we now? Yeah. Go and find Scoutcrafter. 7:30 on a Monday, 7:30 on a Wednesday, and 7:30 on a Friday. The subjects he covers are amazing, and the tricks and tips and the stories absolutely fantastic. Yeah. So yeah, keep watching Scoutcrafter, and John, thank you very much for that, because yeah, come the weekend we will be attempting that. Yeah. I'm not saying I'm going to do a good job. I'm just saying we'll be attempting it. Yeah. Thank you very much, John, for making that film for us. Thank you very much indeed. Isn't it fantastic being a shed man? Yeah.